Vin Ho of internationalvin.com. Today we're going to talk about information technology and computer careers. So introduce yourself real quickly and what you do, Alex.
Of course. Well, my name is Alex Murillo, and I'm the head of the IT department for Allyn International. Been in the area of technology for about 20 years or so, and been in this company for almost 9 years already.
All right, great. So we're going to learn all about your career and your recommendations and all of that. Now let's go way back. You have an interesting background because you're from Latin America, right?
I am. I'm from Venezuela.
Venezuela. And then where did you go to school or college?
All right, so I did all my education in Venezuela, or
Okay.
big part of it, most of it. I did go to college to a university called Nueva Esparta University, which is translated to New Esparta.
Okay.
It's a private school. It's quite good for technology. It's not the most famous one, but it's a good one, or at least at that time, many years ago when I went to college,
Uh-huh.
it was at that time one of the tops.
Okay, so at a young age, you already knew that you wanted to do something in computers or IT?
Totally, yeah. I was that kid that when you ask them, they always say, I want to be a cop, I want to be a doctor, or something like that. I was the one who wanted to be a software developer for some reason. I think when I was young, probably on eighth grade or something like that, I remember seeing one of my math teachers. He was taking a software development course on his own, and I saw him programming something in his computer. It was some tasks, some training that he was doing, and then I saw him doing that, writing code, and then seeing the software behave in different ways depending on what he was writing, and that caught my attention immediately. And obviously, then after that, as any young person, I wanted it to be a gamer or a coder for games, and didn't happen, but that was kind of like the goal at that time.
I see. Okay. Now, so high school, college, formative years, you're interested in computer science and all of that, and then you even went to an IT college kind of specialty.
Right, correct,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, is that for those ages? Is it pretty popular to do computer science in Venezuela and Latin America? Is it kind of popular
Well,
major?
yeah, I mean, at that time, it was becoming more and more popular. Like, I remember me and my friends at that time, like, trying to think what we were going to do in college once finishing high school. And probably main things was either telecommunications, software development, any computer science related, like engineer and things like that. They were always on the top. And a lot of people, like I believe, went through. This is early 2000s, so it's like a big boom of the internet. And there is also a lot of new programming languages coming out. Microsoft had just released C Sharp and some of those, the new ASP at that time, Entity Framework, .NET. So a lot of things came out during those first years of the year 2000 that a lot of people got very much interested on. And it also was a time when it was not, I don't want to say easy, but like more accessible for anybody to create their own websites. So I think that all that brought a lot of interest on the market of studying software development or any computer science area.
All right. So then, after you graduated, you came out with a CS degree, I assume, computer
Yeah.
science. All right. So then, did you work right away for a local company? How did that come about?
I did study actually before finishing my degree. I started officially when I believe I was 19. And as a software developer, that was my first gig as a software developer. It was a local company, though we were doing work for or programming for very famous reinsurance company called AON. I don't think they have a lot of offices here in the U.S., but they are big in Europe, and we were programming for their insurance software.
All right. Now, when I think about computer science degrees, I think about some math classes and then kind of obviously working on some programming. Is there any other classes that are essential or key when you look back on your education?
And yeah, probably a few. And I was having this conversation yesterday. I was doing an interview with a person who's recently, I think he has not gotten out of college yet, but and we're comparing how was me going to college 20 years ago and how it is for him that he's still on it. And sometimes it's actually the subjects that are not the most popular or the most known, the ones that I go look back and I say like, wow, I'm glad that I actually did this. So I remember some of them being related to even labor law, things like that, things that prepare you to not just to be a coder, but like the corporate world. Because what happens is that, and especially with technology, happens a lot that people gets too much enclosed on themselves. Programmers are normally that person who is in the corner, very quiet, with their headphones on, and nobody talk much with that person. So the preparing on college or those classes that are around it that prepare you to be and live in the corporate world. I often go back and see like, well, I'm very glad that I did have a few of those. Outside of that, obviously, anything that is related or that it was related to actual coding, like we always struggle with learning how to think logically on something. When you're a software developer, you have to have a lot of creativity and logic working around in your mind, and that's something that you don't necessarily learn, but you developed while you are working and while you're presented with tasks or problems that you need to solve. So we had a lot of teachers in the programming classes that they were not only just telling us how to program or how to write code, but telling us the tools that there are within the software development languages and teaching us how to think to use those tools in specific problems. So it was not only that we had the programming classes, the database classes, but also the way that the classes were informative to us, how we were learning, not just by being told how to do something, but to be told how to think and learn how to use each of the tools that you have in your hands.
Oh, okay, so I think you're saying like technical and then logic, but then also how to apply it, critical thinking
Right.
and reasoning. Okay.
Correct, yeah.
All right. So after college, you got your degree. You were working in Venezuela at a fairly young age, and then how did you end up in Florida? How did you make that jump?
All right. Well, without getting too much into the political situation, but many of the viewers and obviously yourself know about the situation in Venezuela in the early 2000s, the change of government, and then economically the country went down drastically in the first few years or the first decade of the 2000, never came back up. So that became in a situation that it was unbearable to live with. It was complicated to make a living in the country, regardless of having a good degree, having a good job. Like at that time, I had a really good job that I loved and I enjoyed it so much to do. A good salary, and I could have a good kind of way of life if I would have been in a different country. But Venezuela didn't really offer a lot of opportunities on that side, and it was also a very dangerous country. It was a very dangerous place where you could be kidnapped easily or go into troubles, And then I started evaluating the options of moving away from the country. And it presented to me the option of coming to the U.S. I have some family here. They were living in Orlando at that time, and they actually welcomed me there, and they helped me to go to. So that's why I moved to the U.S., trying to look for a better future.
Now, was that a long process in terms of immigrating to America? You had to be have certain skills or have family to, help you, do the paperwork and all that?
Yeah, well, every history or every person, every case is going to be a different story. In my case, for the way that I did it, I came actually to study English in here. So that was my main goal was I'll just go to the United States for a few months, get a kind of degree or some diploma that prove that I have a second language, and then try to look around what I could do with my life and my career. Right? I'm also Colombian. We didn't talk about this earlier, but my family is from Colombia, so that was another plan that I had, like maybe get bilingual certified in the United States and then go to Colombia and find a better job and try to do something with my career on that. So when I came here, the fact that I had family was very helpful because somebody was welcoming me in their home and letting me stay for a long time in their house and have a place where I knew that I was safe and I had a meal on the table, right? So it's not the same story for everybody. When I compare myself with many other people who did very similar situation, I consider myself very lucky in some cases. And then after that, when I decided that I was not going back to Venezuela, And since the political situation was getting more and more complicated over there, and I had personally been part of that situation at some point, being part of some oppositional parties, events, and rallies, and manifestations on the streets, and being part at some point, the company where I worked for was also providing services to the national institution that rules the elections, or the presidential elections and things like that over there. I was too much involved in politics at that time, so I was able to talk with a lawyer and build a case for political asylum in here. So I decided that, which is not what I wanted to do. When I came to the U.S., I really wanted just to go study English and then go back somewhere else. But then, while being here, I liked that my family helped me. So I was like, let me try this. Talk with the lawyer. There was a path for it, so I opted for it, and I stay here as a political asylum.
Oh, I see. Now, did you do some study in Orlando, or did you go find a job after that?
I did English as a second language mainly. That's what I did in Orlando, which was great. It helped me a lot because everybody on technology, if you are not from the United States, you need to learn English. Or if you're not from an English speaker country, you need to learn English. Especially at that time, 20 years ago, there were not so many resources online in Spanish or in any other language. So anything you wanted to learn how to do, even programming languages, are in most cases a version of English, just turn it into a technical language, right? So the sentences and the keywords that you use when you're programming normally are actually English words. So you definitely have to learn. But I did not have a great conversational English skills, so that's what I did in college, in Valencia College in Orlando, actually. And I got my degree on English as a second language. And then after that is when I started looking for a job. After I also finished applying for my papers on the political asylum, I got granted a work permit that it lasts like 2-3 years or something like that. And with that, now I can actually apply for a job. Before that, I was only a student. I was only a student, so I was not able to work, during that time.
All right. And then from there, did you get into an IT job in Orlando, or was it straight in Fort Myers?
No, I started working, helping my cousin on an auto repair shop. He owns an auto repair shop in Orlando, and I started there. Didn't last a long time there because I was, lucky enough to find this job that I have now in Allyn. But it did last some months. I don't remember how long, but a few months I last there. And during that time, I was just like crazy applying to many, many jobs. Was not getting a lot of opportunities. It's complicated. Have a person who just immigrated here, and he has only a few more, or a year and something living here, no experience in any American company, learning English. So it was quite complicated to get a good opportunity. I didn't land many interviews at that time. But one of those that I was able to get was this interview at Allyn International. So that was really good, actually.
Yeah. All right. So tell us a little bit about Allyn International. Did you start as just beginning job, entry level in computer science here? Is that how you started?
Yeah, actually, I was lucky enough. I got my first position was IT team leader.
Oh.
In here. Yeah. So I was leading IT development team leader. So I was leading the software development team, which at that time was probably a third of what it is today. And most of them were in Prague, which is still kind of the case. And I only had one software developer here in the United States. So I was the leader. The thing is that that was basically the same position that I had in my last job in Venezuela. I was also basically the team leader of the software development team. So I kind of got the same position here in the U.S.
Okay, so it seems like it was good timing.
Yeah.
So you joined Allyn International and the IT department. It was kind of growing at the time. It needed help or more people with your expertise, I guess.
Yeah, totally. The person who was doing that job before, I believe, is the person who got promoted to be the manager of the department at that time. So they needed a person to help with just managing or leading the software development team. I had good experience as a software developer myself. Like I coded for about 10 years or so in the technologies that we've been using here. So by that time, I had a really good technical knowledge, like a good grasp of how to program in C# and Microsoft technologies, which are the main that we use in here. And I also had been doing the leadership of a software development team before in the previous company for about 4 or 5 years or so. So I already had some experience doing basically the same that I was doing here at that time.
Okay. Now, maybe can you talk a little bit about IT departments in general? You mentioned software development. Are there other services or skill sets that are utilized in IT departments for like a broad range of companies?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think that every company will have a networking need. Not all of them will have a software developer need, which is a little bit interesting, right? Everybody needs softwares, websites, web apps, mobile solutions as well, but you don't necessarily need to have developers on your team as well. In the case of us, because we have our own TMS growing in-house, we do need a software development team, but the probably telecommunications and networking, help desk areas are much more needed 100% of the cases. You're always going to have computers to maintain, to provide support. You're always going to have in your company access points to the internet. You're always going to have in your company backups, probably cloud services, and other software that you have to host because you're buying them from some providers, some vendors. So you're always going to need that support from all the other areas in technology for sure.
Okay. Now, you mentioned you have a growing team, a growing department, and you've probably hired some people over the years. Now, I'm just curious what you look for in terms of candidates. Are they strictly computer science people? Are you looking for people with experience or a combination of the two? What's on your radar?
I mean, since I started here, I think a little bit of everything. It depends on the need that we have at the moment. I don't know if I can explain much more of what we have right now and if it will be relevant, but for example, right now we have certain needs internally in the software development team where I need a person with a lot of knowledge in certain technologies, for example. So then I open that position with certain focus, right? But there has been many times when we are very open to just try somebody who is right out of college and they are just